What's going on, everybody? I know things have been a little crazy lately with all the COVID stuff, and you're stuck at home with many of you looking for ways to play your Dungeons & Dragons 5e or Pathfinder games online. But I've been getting slammed with questions on what to use. How do you make maps? Where to find D&D tokens? How to make your own VTT tokens? What's the best video chat for your D&D games? And even questions about streaming some combat music to your players online. So, this is it. This is the video where I'm going to cover everything. And I'm not going to just give you guys what I use for my setup, but also some alternatives so you can really find what works best for your budget and your group. Oh, and one last thing. I know YouTubers ask people to leave comments, blah, blah, blah. But guys, if ever you would take me up on that offer, please, please take a few moments to comment down below and tell us what you and your group use to play online. If you have any questions on the stuff in this video, please ask it here in the comments. If you guys have any experience with some of these platforms and feel like you can help people understand the pros and cons or answer questions for them, I'm asking you, please do so in the comments. And if you use something that didn't get mentioned in the video, please, please let us know down below so we can all check it out. I'd love for the comment section in this video to basically be a huge swath of knowledge that the community can kind of all come together to make. So, thanks. The first category we have is virtual tabletops, or VTTs. Choosing the platform on which you're going to play your games is the single most important choice you'll need to make. Unlike the rest of the categories in this video, once you choose a VTT and you get past any trial period, moving to a different platform becomes a little more daunting with each session. I've broken them down into 3 tiers. The first tier includes the two behemoths, Fantasy Grounds and Roll20. Now, I've made several videos on these and the differences between them before, and yes, I am absolutely biased, so full disclosure for you guys. But I think the biggest difference between these platforms is automation and price, both of which Fantasy Grounds kind of comes out ahead. With the release of Fantasy Grounds Unity's beta, which ramped up the battle map portion of their software significantly, I think the choice is a no-brainer. If you're a Dungeon Master or Game Master, you can either outright purchase the software up front for long-term savings or subscribe for $10 a month, and your group can all play with you for free. Additionally, if you want to jumpstart your game by snagging a few of the books like the Monster Manual and Volo's Guide, Fantasy Grounds offers those titles each for $30 compared to a lot of the books. I haven't checked them in a while, guys, but the last time I looked, Roll20 offered those books at full MSRP. So I know that Fantasy Grounds has them for $30. I'm pretty sure Roll20 offers their books still at the $49.95 price. So not 100%. Now, Roll20. Roll20 is far, far more system agnostic than Fantasy Grounds. It just is. Additionally, Roll20 has a freemium model, so for this reason, they have a much larger user base than Fantasy Grounds. Also, Roll20 has massive community support for odd games and character sheets, so if you want to play a small indie RPG instead of Dungeons & Dragons, etc., Roll20 might better suit your group. Again, they are freemium, so you can play for free, but if you want all the bells and whistles, you'll need to pony up some cash. Personally, their $5 tier makes sense to me, but if you're looking at their $10 tier, I feel as though Fantasy Grounds is just a far superior product at that price point, and they can match Roll20 via their Ultimate license month to month, and if you buy Fantasy Grounds outright, it's a significant savings after a couple of years, so there's that. Check out this video if you want to see a purely numbers, math breakdown of, pricing and all that stuff. Did I point in the right corner? It may have been this corner. Oh well. Bias aside, both are great, honestly. The next tier I'm going to lump together as odd or up-and-comers with Astral VTT, D20 Pro, which some people swear by, and a really weird choice of Tabletop Simulator. Here's the deal. I've never ran a game on any of these VTTs, but I have looked at them in the past and recently again for this video. Astral looks like it could be a really great Roll20 competitor on the surface. What I mean is that while the software engineering of the platform might be great, the UI seemed really all over the place. In my opinion, if you want to play around with another freemium service and don't like Roll20 for whatever reason, give Astral a look. It might surprise you. D20 Pro had similar issues for me in the past. The one thing I will note is that it appears D20 Pro has landed official content from Wizards of the Coast, and this I feel bodes well for the platform. But beyond telling you guys that it has a 30-day trial, I'm just not familiar enough with it to give you really any more information than that. It's out there, go check it out. And the same thing goes for Tabletop Simulator. This is a VR capable VTT that is probably the only product that's as system agnostic as Roll20. I've looked at this off and on over the years, but I've never ponied up the 20 bucks on Steam for it because frankly, I was happy with my VTT. But as far as I can tell, it finally looks like the software is getting access to other games via add-ons like actual board games. If your group is super techie and the thought of playing in an online virtual reality setting sounds like it's right up your alley, you know what? Give this a look. Straight up, if I had an Oculus and a group of friends with their own VR rigs, I promise I would pony up the Andrew Jackson and jump in on this. And finally, we have the most analog choice of all, screen share with an image manipulator, aka Photoshop or Gimp, during a Zoom or Skype call. If your group is totally fine with not seeing rolls because seriously, who's gonna cheat? I mean, what's the point? Then this is a totally perfectly good way to go. I'd recommend joining a Zoom call on your PC where you can screen share as the DM and then jumping in the same call again with your phone. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You now have a screen where you can throw up maps, move tokens around, and you can still talk and have access to video. Okay, speaking of which, now let's jump over to video chat programs. Right off the bat, we have the software that I use and the one that I would recommend, Zoom.us. I love Zoom. It's basically Skype on steroids. However, you should know that Zoom is going to run you a pretty penny of $15 a month. I mean, Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds are really only 10 bucks a month at their highest tiers. But for me personally, it's a tax write-off and it makes sense. If you are interested in streaming your games to Twitch, by the way, don't even look anywhere else. Zoom or bust, trust me, nothing even comes close to the quality. If you don't want to pay the $15 a month, you're really just limited to a 40-minute meeting, FYI. So if you want to, play for 40, break up the call, jump back in another call real quick, play for 40, it's free. Alternatively, you can always use Discord. I have to admit, I was surprised at how much Discord video has improved when my younger brother ran me through it pretty recently. The good news, Discord is free, and also it's pretty common nowadays. The bad news, it can be a bit hit or miss on robot voice, so the quality isn't what Zoom is. Now, that's not a dig at Discord. I mean, you can video conference and create servers and on, all for free. I mean, they're giving a lot of value away to everyone for free. Kudos to them. It's just not as high quality as Zoom. And then of course we have all of the other options like Skype, Google Hangouts, etc. As far as free goes, give me Discord, and as far as quality goes, give me Zoom. But honestly, if your group loves Skype, then use Skype. This is a good category for commenters, by the way. If you have something that you think is a hidden gem, let us know down below. Please, seriously, let us know. Okay, the next category is one that I've been working on myself recently, and that's music. A lot of Dungeon Masters cannot imagine playing Dungeons & Dragons without music, while others absolutely hate it. But I still think that it's worth covering here. Okay, so what we really need is a way to get music to your group via an online stream that can simultaneously cast it. Your first option, which I'm going to admit is a bit hit or miss, is for you Zoom users. If you do have Zoom, there's a function that will actually allow you to share not your screen, but your PC's audio to your group. Recently, I've been playing around with this for my 2 Patreon games with an Amazon Music playlist that I personally kind of put together, and the results were mixed. The issue is balancing the audio just perfectly, and when another person talks, it lowers the volume a bit. But still, one group loved it, the other group had a conniption fit. Take that as it were. But potentially a better option is a little secret called Watch 2, like the number, together. This is awesome. Basically, you create a room, invite people to join said room, and then the person in charge controls the YouTube video that it plays across everyone. So as a Dungeon Master, you can load in a good combat music video right here on YouTube, and then when combat starts, start streaming it to everyone at the same time. Honestly, there aren't a lot of cons to it beyond bandwidth and simply another screen for everyone to stop and log into, and of course the DM has to manage it. You know what, on second thought, maybe the DM doesn't have to manage it. Have somebody else create the Watch Together room and have them run combat music. Another option I found, but full disclosure, I have not tried, is a site called Jukebox, which is actually spelled JQBX. This appears to be very similar to Watch Together, with the caveat that it runs Spotify. I personally subscribe to Amazon Music, so again, I didn't try this out, but it does look like it would potentially work well for DMs that are all about that Spotify. And finally, what about those ambience sounds, taverns and sword cleans, etc.? Well, I'm just gonna be straight with you guys. I'm not a big fan of paid services like Syrinscape and BattleBards. That's not to say that there is anything wrong with them. I just think trying to run a soundboard while DMing and setting up virtual maps and tokens while looking at small video boxes, trying to constantly read my player's body language is kind of absurd. However, if you are looking for a good option here, might I suggest tabletop audio instead? This is all created by one dude as far as I can tell, and his policy is basically use everything for free. If you start making a bunch of money on YouTube or Twitch, maybe reach out to me and see if we can't, work something out about my music you're using. Otherwise, go nuts. Pretty cool. And one last thing, because some players love subtle combat music, others love loud music to get their hearts pumping, and some players hate any and all distractions. Another really great solution is just to give your players a good list of music and let them each be responsible for music on their ends if they want it. I put together a list right at about 45 minutes of music that is perfect combat music, and I'll throw a screenshot of that in a link down below in the description. Most of it is from a group called 2 Steps from Hell, and I know, but they really do make incredible stuff. So check that out in the link. Okay, maps. Where can I get good Dungeons & Dragons maps for free? I get this question a lot. And I've got some really great recommendations. First up is the trove of maps that you can find on a specific Reddit forum r/BattleMaps. There's basically some absolutely insane artists over there, so I definitely recommend checking that out. But what about creating your own maps? I mean, sometimes spending hours digging through maps online for one that will actually work for you is more common than you might think at first. Well, look no further than Dungeon Painter Studio. This is the software that everyone can use. It's literally perfect, and it will only run you $14.99 on Steam as a one-time purchase. Let me just say, as someone who is proficient in Photoshop, Dungeon Painter Studio is the best way to create maps, and it isn't even close. I'm telling you the truth when I say that Dungeon Painter Studio is grossly underpriced, and I would gladly pay $10 to $15 a month for it. And I bet other users would as well. The fact that $15 gives it to you in perpetuity is silly. If you want to dig into DPS, first, do it. Secondly, utilize the Steam Workshop packs. That's where the real value is. And finally, here's an old cringy video I made a few years back on it that will serve as a good tutorial. It's 20 minutes long, but you should be pretty proficient in Dungeon Painter Studio by the end of it. Your third option is to learn Photoshop. Now, I'm including this as a bit of a jest, and yes, I do take a few of my 90% finished maps from DPS and complete the last 10% in Photoshop, but in all seriousness, learning Adobe's Photoshop is a great skill to learn. If you snag the full creative suite, you can do everything. Start a YouTube channel, make thumbnails, start a podcast for your new patron, build Twitch overlays, design a new logo in Illustrator, and finally learn InDesign so you can release your own Kickstarter 5e book, like, everyone. And finally, we have Arkenforge. Now, I haven't dug into Arkenforge much. I'm pretty sure that I got an elevator pitch for this at Gen Con last year, and at that time, they seemed like they were focusing on trying to be a VTT with dynamic lighting, etc. But a recent visit to their site shows that they seem to be pretty capable of creating maps and trying to upsell assets to users for those maps. As it sits, they're probably a more expensive version of DPS, but eventually they might be a better and more expensive version of DPS. They're at least worth keeping an eye on or checking out if you haven't checked them out. Okay, let's stay in the same vein and jump to tokens. Where do you get D&D tokens? First off, if you're buying the Monster Manual through Fantasy Grounds or Roll20, and probably D20 Pro, I'm sure, you'll be fine. If you're jumping on the Fantasy Grounds train, just stop. You're good. Roll20 will have many free assets as well. Another great source for tokens is from Devin Knight. Devin is a digital artist, and he has the first 20 sets, so way more than just 20, tokens available for free to download and use from his website. If you're going to snag all 20 sets, maybe buy a pack or two in addition from him, link down below. And finally, if you just want to make your own tokens, I made a Photoshop file for you to use that's completely free to download. If you don't have Photoshop, don't worry, there is a free Photoshop alternative called Gimp, G-I-M-P, Gimp, that you can use to open PSD files, aka Photoshop files. I'll put a link to this right next to that music playlist that I talked about earlier. And that brings us to our last category, campaign management. It would only make sense to include something to manage your world building and campaign. I use Microsoft OneNote. Honestly, I've tried a bunch of world builders and they were all so much more cumbersome than just hitting up OneNote, which is free, by the way. And that way I can throw it in on my Android device as well and do whatever I really need to. I can take it wherever. If you end up using OneNote, by the way, might I recommend a simple people, places, things system to get you up and running so you're not stuck there going, oh, how should I organize this with analysis paralysis? By the way, are people interested in like world building advice and content? If you guys want to see maybe a video or maybe like a stream of 5 days where we all world build something together and go over to, I don't know. Let me know if you guys want world building or if you rather just see more kill your party with. Alternatively, there are freemium services if you want one or two other features than what OneNote has to offer. And really, that's not much more than what OneNote can do right now out of the box with Campfire, WorldAnvil, and Notebook.ai. All of these programs are designed to help you create worlds and manage campaigns. And all of them will have their pros and cons, but are still worth a look. I haven't really dug into the differences between the 3 or 4 of them. I think Hero Forge, oh, there's an Obsidian Portal maybe. Is that another one out there? If you guys use something, I think most people know what WorldAnvil is. If you guys use Campfire or Notebook.ai or Obsidian Portal or whatever else, let us know. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? This is one that I haven't dug into a whole lot. And there you go, guys. So my questions are, what did I miss? Seriously, please. I know I've been begging for comments the whole video, but this is the one video that, like, dude, I genuinely, I would love tons of answers on different stuff that we haven't looked at. One thing that people don't realize, I read absolutely every single comment. Okay, wait, I take that back. I read almost every single comment. I don't see comments that are replies to comments, but even on videos 2 or 3 years ago, I see brand new comments on those, and I will read all of them unless they are like just a page of text, in which case I'll skim and be like, okay, I got the gist, thanks. True story. So yes, I will read all of these comments. I will read everything that you guys suggest. Please let us know what you use, what's your setup like, how long have you been using said setup, and does your group like it, hate it, what was the learning curve, all of it. Let us know down below. Also, this is not an edition wars. All right, I don't want to see anybody down talking another program. If other people use those programs and they love them, just talk up the ones that you guys like, and that's fine. Please. I, of course, want to give an absolutely massive thank you to all of my incredible patrons over at WelcomeAdventures.com. If you guys enjoy what I do, you want to support more content like this and snag some rewards for yourself, WelcomeAdventures.com is a great place to do that. And, you know, I appreciate it. If this is your first time here, and you love role-playing games as much as I do, or you're learning to love role-playing games as much as I do, I would love to have you subscribe. Every week, kind of-ish, most of the time, sometimes, a few times a month, I put out videos just like this about DM tips, player tips, tutorials, and more. So if that's something you might be interested in, just hit the subscribe button down below and come join us. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Cody, and may your games be filled with awesome memories and even better friends. I'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah.